Welcome back, everybody, to another dicondissectional production hosted by Deathstroke9. So there are three Tool songs that I think are the most well-known tracks by them, which are probably Schism, Sober, and Stinkfist, with Sober probably being the most well-known out of the three. I think those were all singles, I'm not certain. But anyway, case in point, I've heard this song before. In fact, I originally started this channel because I wanted to get more into Tool. Now, more than a year later, I've heard every single thing Tool has ever, like all their albums, multiple times all the way through. And they're one of my favorite bands ever, which is why I haven't reacted to them in a while. But this is a live version of the song Sober that was that has been requested a few different times. And why not? It should be cool. People said it's a really cool performance. The Maynard is super weird in it, and I mean, it's a great song, which I don't think I've reacted to the original version on here. So I mean, yeah, why not? So thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, we've done other Tool stuff, but that was a while ago. I'll try to put links to it somewhere, maybe. And welcome. My name is Daniel, and here we react to music, and I try to figure out what the music and the lyrics mean to me personally, and we do research on what the artist intended. And yeah, all right, so here we go. Tool, Sober, live. It says pro shot thing. Let me try to make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There you go. That riff is so cool. What the hell is Maynard wearing?
Shouting every step I take, making every promise empty, pointing every finger at me, waiting like a stalking butler, who upon the finger rests, murdered now the battle must be, just because the sun has come. Mother Mary, won't you whisper something but the past and done? Mother Mary, won't you whisper something but the past and done? Why can we not be sober? Just want to stop this.
I'm gonna pause it. First of all, it's interesting how he's so hunched over for this. I wonder if that helps him sing. Like, because this song has a lot of him kind of, I don't know how to describe it, like him holding things for a long time, kind of wailing them out almost and pushing them out. And it's like, you know, why can't we not? You know, so I don't know. I wonder if him being the way he is right now, almost in the fetal position, is helping with that. And yeah, he's literally out here in like a completely unbuttoned onesie. Such a character. One of my favorite frontmen of any band ever. And yeah, this song is so incredibly dark. All right, let's keep going. Love the crowd too.
Just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and all is well. I will find a center in you. I will chew it up and leave. I will work to elevate you. Just enough to bring it down. Mother Mary, won't you whisper something about the past and done? Mother Mary, won't you whisper
Wow.
something about the
So much
past and done?
passion.
Why can't we not be sober? I just want to start this over. Why can't we sleep forever? I just want to start this over.
He looks like he just came out of an insane asylum or something. It's crazy. It's very... It's like pulling me into the performance a lot, you know? It's almost adding like another layer to the song, at least in this performance of the song, that there is... Yeah. All right. Danny Carey's doing awesome. Goes Adam. Everyone's doing awesome.
I'm just a worthless liar. I'm just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and all is well. I will find a center in you. I will chew
Turn it up. Might as well go.
Trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. Why can't we not be sober? I just want to start this over. Why can't we sleep forever? I just want to start this over.
Wow. Such an amazing performance. Yeah, one of the... Yeah. If I was, like, given a choice to see, like, any band live, like, I had to choose one band, it would probably be Tool. Is this before Justin Chancellor became their bassist? I think so. I think so. What was the name of the first guy? I'm not remembering at this second. He helped with a couple songs on Undertow, I think. But by that point, he had already mostly, yeah. So it'd be weird if he was. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Yeah, so that's Sober. Great song. Did he left out the super explicit part, I noticed. Yeah, let's see what some of the... Oh, Tool Archive. I think I've seen other videos from this channel. Let me just subscribe to them real quick just because. Yeah, this right here. Tool Live, the Glass House Remastered. There was like another live concert that they had on here. There's some cool stuff on this YouTube page. I highly recommend you check it out if you like the band. Only Maynard can pull off a mohawk mullet in a onesie and still keep all credibility. Maynard is portraying everyone coming out of quarantine in 2021. Imagine my pride when my 22-year-old son came up to me the other day and said, "Oh my God, Dad, have you heard Tool?" I replied, "Yes. Yes, my son, I have." Yes, his voice is almost identical to the album live. That is awesome. Yes, it's crazy. It's crazy. I love how he looks like something that shouldn't be brought out in the daytime. When he screams the chorus the second time around, yeah, he gets so so much more aggressive with it the second time around. Rumor has it that after the performance, the sound engineer discovered Maynard's microphone was unplugged. Oh boy. All right. Yeah, that's what happens when you feed Maynard after midnight. All right. For real though, this song is really my interpretation of the song normally. Is it's kind of a drug song. Let's take a look at the lyrics and see what we've got. Yeah. Sober was written about a friend of the band who was only creative when under the influence. It earned Tool their first real fame in the mid 90s, receiving heavy airplay on the radio and MTV as the primary single from Undertow. The track features an eerily repetitive single note bass line, dun dun, dun dun, that repeats throughout most of the sections, accompanied by Adam Jones' dissonant guitars and Maynard James Keenan's unorthodox vocal delivery. Many of the lyrics were adapted from the song Burn About Out by CAD. What'd that stand for? C. I saw this like a very short time ago. One of Maynard's other bands, Children of the Anachronistic Dynasty. Okay, anachronistic. Yeah, whatever. Music video is famous for its use of clay figures and stop motion animation. Is Adam Jones the one who does like all the animation for those things, or not all of it, but like does a significant portion of it, right? So there's a shadow just behind me, shrouding every step I take. He's paranoid, making every promise empty, pointing every finger at me, waiting like a stalking butler who upon the finger rests. Murder now the pattern must we, just because the sun has come. So, alcohol dependence and alcoholism is depicted here as constantly lurking just behind the protagonist of the song, inescapable and immaterial as a shadow. This immaterial nature seems to stalk and haunt the narrator, serving to fulfill the Jungian concept of the shadow self, a concept Keenan has explored in other songs such as 46 and 2. Yes, Young's work is... Yeah, was just talking about Young's work the other day with a friend. Yeah. All right. Suggesting that the narrator may not even be fully aware of the hold that the said addiction has on his life, instead operating on a subconscious, almost instinctual level. Just as its presence is considered inescapable, its effects and influence are felt across every step the protagonist takes and every action he undertakes. Building on the insidious nature alluded to in the previous lines, the incessant presence undermines the protagonist's ability to follow through on his promises. Dependence can dominate your life to the point when you cannot really be relied upon, as the substance becomes more important than any other obligation. Additionally, the shadow constantly feeds the protagonist's empty promises that the substance will provide reprieve to the pain of life. Promises that this time things will turn out different somehow. There's the definition of insanity. And that's what his performance in this specific live video added to the song for me, is when I heard the song originally, I've heard the song many times and seen the music video. And it's darker in a subtler way. It's always a lot subtler. Where in this video, he's embodying the madness, the paranoia, and the weirdness of that character in that moment. And by the second chorus, he's screaming out in pain and anguish. Mother Mary, won't you whisper something but the past and done? Why can't we not be sober? The song is so contradictory to itself. It's very interesting. All right, pointing every finger at me. His dependence is not something that he struggles with completely privately. It has impact beyond just himself. Those around him are aware of the consequences, even if they are not aware of the struggle. The unreliability mentioned in the previous line is noticeable, and he draws the blame for it. What's the Metallica song? Wait. It always reminds me of this song, too. Sad but true. Where he's like, you're my scapegoat, right? Yeah. All right. For some reason, I can't think of the exact lyrics at the moment. But anyway, the protagonist of the song's drug of choice is always there to take care of him. But he understands, on some level at least, that this is bad for him. Yet the thoughts and desire to use it are always there, hence the stalking. Stalking butler could also be a reference to the classic murder story trope that the butler is the murderer. It's always the butler, the one who you imagine is out to help you, but ultimately is the villain. Then this line was left out of this live version. Jesus, won't you effing whistle something but the past and done? He repeats that twice. Here he is asking for hope for the future. He chafes at the repeated regurgitation of quotes and tenets from the past, most likely a reference to 12-step programs and their reliance on Jesus. He doesn't feel that references to a book written 2,000 years ago are particularly applicable to his life, and as such, dependence on said book as the heart of his recovery is futile. Give him something tangible going forward. Speak to him about the future. Help him understand the future, not his past, not his fear, not his guilt, but instead give him hope, give him strength, give him love, right? And that's the problem with a lot of that stuff. Anyway, let's continue. Why can't we not be sober? So there's a double negative here. Why can't we not be sober? I just want to start this over. Why can't we drink forever? It's like he's battling with himself here. Confusing double negative aside, the protagonist is essentially posing one of the questions that those who struggle with depression and substance dependence often have trouble with. Why not? If I want to live my life in a drunken haze or high, why can't I? Who are you to tell me I'm wrong for not wanting to face the world sober? But at the same time, I just want to start this over. Get a clean slate, but you won't let me, and you're going to hold this against me forever. Then verse 2, which is where the song gets very dark in a similar way to when I first heard another, again, Metallica, Master of Puppets. That song scared me, a lot. This same thing. I am just a worthless liar. I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and fall as well. I will find a center in you. I will chew it up and leave. I will work to elevate you just enough to bring you down. Mother Mary, won't you whisper something but the past and done? The protagonist is clearly aware of the damages that his dependence can wreak on his life and the life of those around him. Depression and alcohol abuse are often comorbid. Never heard that word before. So his characterization of himself as a worthless liar, an imbecile, is a reflection of the issues raised in the first verse. Has self-hatred or loathing going on as well. Yeah. He is aware that his alcoholism makes it difficult to trust him or rely on him, and he's aware of how futile and self-defeating the cycle is. Wallowing in these labels, however, will not help you climb out of the mire. Furthering the self-awareness and self-deprecating cycle, because he's aware of it. That's what's so... There's few pieces of media that actually go into the depths of this vicious cycle where you are becoming something that you don't necessarily want to be, or that you know is hurting other people, or that you know is hurting you, and you're aware of it, and yet you continue to make the conscious choice to allow it to happen. And it is incredibly disturbing. And yeah. The protagonist warns off any potential allies, friends, and attempts to get close enough to help him. There's an implication that he's addressing potential romantic involvement, but the same holds true for platonic relationships. Seeing himself as just a worthless liar and an imbecile, he fears that his own struggles will drag down anyone who tries to help him, akin to a drowning man dragging down a potential savior and causing them to drown as well. As is common in depression and substance abuse, he feels that he does not have anything of worth to offer. If someone tries to get close, the protagonist will only introduce difficulty into their life. If someone puts the requisite trust into him, he will only let them down, risking bringing the trusting individual down with him. By the nature of dependence, if you get close enough for him to have access to your inner layers, because of his dependence, he will end up taking advantage of your attempts to help. And the last line seems to imply that he wants to do better. He desires to rise above the problem, but is not strong enough, or just won't. Dependence is by its nature characterized by issues with self-control. Therefore, as much as he wants to engage in a positive, mutually beneficial relationship, he fears that he does not have the strength to see one through. His concern is that due to what he sees as his inevitable relapse, any work towards an uplifting relationship will be undermined by his dependence. His work to improve, he will work to improve, and just when the ally begins to gain hope that true improvement is being made, the protagonist will likely relapse, undermining all the progress that had been made. Mother Mary, won't you whisper? Much like the previous reference to Jesus, he is again pleading for something real going forward instead of simple platitudes and stories from ancient history. The implication of focusing solely on the past is that it allows for reflection on his failures so far. Again, stop focusing on failure, guilt, and everything from the past. Hope, love, encouragement, and help. That's what so many people don't seem to understand about stuff like this. Anyway, continuing. The implication of focusing solely on the past is that it only allows for a reflection on his failures. He has not yet successfully overcome his dependence, so looking back will only serve to see his failures. To have any hope of conquering his demons, he needs to be able to look forward to see a different outcome than what he's experienced so far. Otherwise, the cycle will just keep going. Repeat of the chorus. Kind of a repeat of the bridge. And so the bridge is a repeat of the second verse, but it's a lot quieter and very, As an addict or alcoholic, many will be cunning and manipulative to get their fix and feed the monkey on their back. Many stories tragically illustrate a friend or family member draining their resources dry, going back to drugs or alcohol over and over, and most likely will repeat the same mistakes and go back to their poison of choice. Then trust me, trust me, trust me. Recycling the concerns voiced in previous verses, the repetition of the command to trust him is his warning to any potential friend who might help. The protagonist is struggling with these issues long enough that he sees irrefutable evidence of the inevitability of his eventual relapse. And if he will eventually relapse, then he will always relapse. And if he will always relapse, he will always struggle with his dependence. If he will always struggle with dependence, then he will never be reliable, and his shortcomings, voiced in previous verses, will always be present. If they will always be present, then his warnings from the previous verse and repeated here are inevitable. The irony, very intentional in the songwriting, is that he is vehemently asking you to trust him in his assessment that he is pathologically untrustworthy. And that is the point of the entire song, the defeatist nature of the protagonist's claims juxtaposed with his insistence that he is certain of his inability to overcome his struggles. He is certain of his own inability to reliably assess. He asks us to trust his assessment of his own untrustworthiness. His own unreliability is the only thing we can rely on him for. And that is why this song is so freaking man. I really like this song, in case that wasn't apparent. I actually really like these comments that people have added to this. This has been enlightening for me, too. All right, then we come to the outro, where he just repeats, "I want what I want," over and over again, which is such a horrible way to end the song. It's interesting that this song got so popular, because this song is almost as... There's a few other really bad Tool songs, really bad Tool songs. Prison Sex is a great example of, holy cow, this is dark. This is really effed up. Undertow, another one. Oh, wait, Bottom. Bottom is another great one, Dead inside, dead inside. Yeah, and then the Henry Rollins verse. All great songs, by the way, but still. All right, so at the end, this repeated phrase could signify that this cycle cannot be stopped. He has this issue with alcohol and drug abuse, and despite his efforts to escape it, there's no choice in what we desire. And once he sobers up, then his addiction will take over once again. And that is Tool Sober live from, it doesn't say the year. 1993. Thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. This video ended up being really long. But yeah, that's what Tool does. All right. We're trying to get I'm trying to get to 30,000 subscribers by the end of September 2021 because my birthday is at the end of September, and I'm hoping just to reach the 30,000 subscriber threshold or whatever by that point, just because I think it'd be cool. Don't know if that will happen, but just in case, I would appreciate it if you would join the Legion and subscribe so that you can, be subscribed. All right, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Deathstroke 9 out. Stay tuned for more videos. And let me know, again, as always, I love talking about Tool, okay? I don't do it much because I've heard all of their main albums and the album of demos, that's just like a jumble of numbers is the name of it, and the first EP and the compilation album with like the live stuff and the reimagined stuff. What is the name of that one? Why can't I remember? Whatever. Yeah, and the other day I was listening to Undertow for the first time in a really long time and was like, yeah, I need to do something Tool related. So if there's any song you'd want to see me go over, even though I've heard it before, just let me know down below in the comments. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Deathstroke 9 out.